In this video, we will show you how to replace your left rear power window motor on this Mercury Grand Marquis between the year ranges of 2003 and 2011. The motor itself will be located behind this door panel. Let's get started. With the door open, let's start removing our inside door handle. Use a small pocket screwdriver. Come right over to this trap door and pop it open. Behind that area, you'll find one mounting bolt holding this in place. Use a T27 Torx bit to remove it. With the screw out of there, we'll continue on with a plastic trim tool so we do not damage anything. Carefully come up along the top here and you can pull this down and remove it from the vehicle. Now let's continue on to removing the window switch panel. As we start popping this up, keep in mind there is wiring that leads to the window switch itself. To lift this up, use a small pocket screwdriver and a trim tool if needed. We're going to have to get underneath this area and gently start prying it up. What you'll find is that you have several push tabs. There's one right along here that holds it in place, one approximately in this area, and there should be another one up here. This feels a little loose, so it's probably broken. What I'll do is I'll come right down inside this area and gently start getting in between here so I can pry this upward. As I'm lifting this up, I'll make my way under this area and try to find this little tab that you can see along this area. Get right in between there. Now I should be able to pop this up. And then you would want to do the same thing over here, but like I said, that one's already broken. Continue on to your wiring. On this gray connector, where my thumb is, you can see that there's a little tab. You can squeeze this in and gently separate this. Give it a quick check for corrosion. Assuming it looks okay, go ahead and set that aside. If yours has a push tab like ours right here, go ahead and pop that right out of there using a trim tool. Pop that out of there. Set that down into the door panel. Now behind that area, you'll find that you have one 7mm mounting screw. We're going to remove that and then make our way to the bottom of the door panel to remove one more 7mm mounting screw. Once you have both those mounting bolts out of there, grab onto the door panel. Carefully lift it up and away from the door. Slide the wiring out through the door panel and set the panel aside. To do this job, you will find that you have rivets behind the door panel holding things in place. You will either have to have rivets and a rivet gun to replace them, or just replace them with some nuts and bolts. With that out of the way, we have to start removing the vapor barrier from the area. You'll find that you have this bracket held in place with rivets. There's going to be several other rivets that we will have to remove as well. To remove these, you can use a hammer and a punch. Come right in the center and knock out the middle here. Once you have that out, we'll do the same to the other one, and then we'll start drilling off the heads of each of the rivets. Continue on with a 3/8 drill bit. Do the same to the other. Remove your bracket. Quickly check each of the holes for any rivet residue. Knock it out of there. At this point, we can carefully remove our vapor barrier from the area. You will be reusing this, so don't rip it. As we get to this side, make sure that you put the wiring through. Set the vapor barrier aside. With the window in the fully upright position, continue on by using some masking tape to hold it here. After that, we'll make our way back down to the door to our wiring connector. To remove the electrical connector, you'll find along this area where my index finger is a little tab that you can gently get in between, separate it from the connector, and lift this up and off of here. You can do it by finger. I'll just do it with this pick so my hand's out of the way. Quick check for corrosion. Now you'd want to follow this wire down inside the door. Looking at the outside, you can see that you have these two clips that protrude outward towards us. You can use a trim tool or a pick. Come in between that area and gently pull those out and away from the door. Here's one. Now you can grab that wiring and pull it towards the motor. Inside of each of these three areas, you'll find a Torx head screw. Use a T27 Torx socket to remove each of these. As you do, the motor will break free from the inside of the door. Now we can reach inside the door here and start separating the window motor from the window regulator. Just reach in here, gently start pulling it apart. Now we can pull this out of the door. There it is, friends. All right, let's get ready for the installation of our brand new window motor. When you put this inside the door, you want to have it approximately in this position so that you have your gear facing towards the area of the window regulator that we had to pull off the backside here. Once we have it lined up, go ahead and slide the two pieces together and then align the bolt holes with the bolt holes in the door bracket. Once again, this is the general positioning of it. We'll get the cog lined up and slide it in. There we are. Go ahead and take this and put it in position. Start in each of your mounting bolts before you tighten any of them. All right, snug them up. The next thing you want to do is pay attention to the wiring itself. You need to make sure that the wiring goes in between the window regulator and this area of the door. You don't want it on the other side where it could potentially get bound up on the window when it goes down. Reconnect in your electrical connector, listen for a click, make sure it's secure. Continue by removing your safety tape. Let's test the functionality real quick. Reconnect the switch, power it up, and test the window. Now it's time to reinstall the vapor barrier. For this, you'll either want to have some butyl tape or some tape handy so you can put it in place. Let's take that window switch wiring and slide it right through this slotted hole. Put the weather barrier in position. You'll notice there's going to be several squared out notches that fit directly into the door. That's how you'll know it's aligned properly. Now we can mount our bracket. We'll put it in place on the door. Get ready to install your rivets or mounting hardware, whatever you're using. All right, let's start mounting the door panel to the door. There's several things you want to pay attention to while doing this. On the door panel itself, you'll find that you have several hooks making their way around. In the door, you remember those squared out notches that I told you about when we were doing the vapor barrier. Each one of those hooks fits into those notches. The next thing I want to mention is the window switch wiring. Go ahead and slide that right up and through the hole here. Lastly, you have the area for the door lock. That needs to fit up and through here. Let's take this and put it in position. Come up nice and high, get that door lock aligned. Now as we bring this into position, you want to be pressing the door panel up against the door, paying attention to the top ridge that comes across here and each of those hooks. As we bring it down, the panel needs to fit flush with the door. Now just feel all the way around the door to make sure it's completely secured. Continue on with your two 7mm headed screws. You've got one that goes on the bottom of the door panel. And the second one goes right inside here. Continue on to your window switch. Listen for a click. You also want to re-secure this strap. Now you can take this and put it in position in the door. Let's put this into position. Should slide right in. Continue on with your Torx head screw. Start it in by hand and snug it up. Install your trapdoor. Okay friends, we've got the door panel all back together. We've already tested the window functionality. We know it functions properly. Go ahead and shut the door. Aside from that, thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.